Well, the Noida Dowry horror has also put other horrifying cases of dowry harassment and violence in the recent past. In a chilling case that took place merely 4 days ago in Ghaziabad, 27-year-old Shivani was found dead with upper body injuries and a slit throat at her own house. Her husband, Jitendra, father-in-law and mother-in-law were arrested, after which her husband confessed to harassing and assaulting Shivani over dowry. Meanwhile, in another case in Assam, a woman, Reshma Begum, was brutally beaten to death by her husband after facing years of relentless demands for dowry alongside physical and mental abuse by her husband, Sameer, and his family. In Kanpur, a man named Ganesh Nishad murdered his wife by hitting her head with bricks after being unsatisfied even after receiving dowry of rupees 2.5 lakhs. He is now serving life imprisonment. And in another gruesome case in Rajasthan, a 24-year-old woman alongside her 3 children was drowned in a water tank by her husband and his uncle. She had faced repeated harassment by the two since her marriage in 2016. Brinda DK, I'll come to you. Brinda ji, you know, it's even embarrassing for me to talk about this as an Indian. It's a practice which, you know, we read about in school. We read about how Raja Ram Mohan Roy and and other people who wanted to emancipate women worked against this kind of a norm and a culture. And it's very, very disheartening to see that it somehow slips through the cracks and continues to be, a major player when it comes to fixing marriages in perhaps rural area. I cannot say that definitely with the urban areas.
Well, I want to place on record that there is no geography for demanding dowry and giving dowry. I'm there working on the field. Cities, A cities, B cities, C cities, suburbs, rural areas, urban areas, every religion, every caste, every class. There is not a single marriage that does not talk about dowry in some form or the other. May not be overt, many of them might be very subtle, but at the end of the day, it amounts to what is it that you want to give to your daughter so that she can live a comfortable life in the other home that we are taking her to. So this is the kind of language that is used. And every parent wants that daughter from the biological home to the marriage home to go and live there in comfort, in whatever comfort that can be provided. And over 75% demand in cash and in kind. So let's be very clear, 2025, we might have gone to the other side of the moon and come, but we have not got over demanding for dowry and the social sanctions that are attached to it. Because of these social sanctions and the religious practices, that allows something like this to continue. And then we have family and friends and communities who all the time compromise when these complaints or reports are brought by the bride or the daughter to the family. Because even today, we continue to live in a patriarchal world, patriarchal society and community where we ask, like Ms. Basu said, adjust, compromise, sacrifice, because you have to keep the family together. But the other family doesn't want any family to be kept together. The other family is on a dowry hunting trip. They will do this for every person. Now, why is it that they continue to do something like this? The onus squarely lies with the society and the state institutions of justice. Because we know that impunity has increased because punishment is reduced, decreased, and oftentimes trivialized by the courts, by the prosecution, and by police. Cruelty in marriage is a serious offense. Earlier, we had IPC 498A. A lot of stories went about by the men's rights activists. Again, I want to tell men's rights activists, less than 6% may be false cases, So let's not get carried away. But now in the BNS, the punishment is strict. But the patriarchal structures and mindset sitting there continue to say, how can I put an old mother-in-law in jail? How can I put an old father-in-law in jail? Anyway, she's dead and gone. This child should have one parent. So we will be lenient You want to allow an entire murderous family and father leniency so that they can look after a child? These are questions I want to ask the justice system, because this impunity has increased because of that. And I think, like you said, all of us must hang our heads in shame as we continue to propagate this with our advertisements, with our idea of how marriage should be, and all of that is paid for by the girls' party, because there is some kind of a show off. It is romanticized and said that, it is your job. You only want to have a grand marriage, so you have to have all of these, theme parties and all that. So one part of it, we must place the onus on the advertisers and the wedding planners, but a large part of it sits on us as a society, and the largest part on the state for abetting dowry murders.
Absolutely right, ma'am. There are no demographics. Dowry is not area specific.